The fluorescent lights of Sacred Heart Hospital flickered as Maya Chun pressed her palms against the cold metal of her wheelchair, watching her husband of 12 years walk away down the corridor with his secretary's hand clasped in his. The divorce papers he'd thrown on her hospital bed still lay there, unsigned, mocking her. 6 months ago, she'd been a decorated investigative journalist chasing stories across war zones. Now she couldn't feel her legs, couldn't chase anything, and the man who'd promised forever couldn't even wait until she left the ICU. But Marcus didn't know who she really was before the accident, and that would be his fatal mistake. Maya's fingers trembled as she traced the hospital bracelet on her wrist. Room 847. Patient, Maya Chun. Diagnosis: complete spinal cord injury, T12 level. The clinical language didn't capture the violence of the car crash 3 months ago. The screaming metal, the moment she realized her legs wouldn't respond. The evening nurse, Bridget, entered with medications, her eyes soft with pity Maya had learned to hate. "Did your husband leave already?" "Visiting hours just started." "He left permanently," Maya said flatly, nodding toward the divorce papers. Apparently, paralysis wasn't in the wedding vows. Bridget picked up the papers, reading quickly, her expression darkening. "He's claiming you're mentally incompetent. That you can't manage your own affairs?" His lawyer's creative. Maya's laugh was bitter. "Marcus gets everything: the house, the savings, my settlement from the accident. I get moved to a state facility for the disabled poor." What Bridget didn't know, what Marcus didn't know, was that Maya Chun wasn't just a freelance journalist. Before the accident, she'd been embedded with federal investigators, building a massive corruption case involving city officials, construction companies, and millions in fraudulent contracts. The car crash hadn't been an accident. Someone had run her off that mountain road, deliberately. Her encrypted laptop was hidden in her brother's apartment across town. Her source files, her evidence, her entire investigation sat waiting while she lay here. Legs useless, husband gone, life destroyed. Through the window, she watched the city lights flicker on as dusk settled. Somewhere out there, Marcus was celebrating his freedom with Vanessa, his 26-year-old secretary. Somewhere out there, the people who tried to kill her thought they'd won. Maya reached for her phone with steady hands. She'd been broken before, during the war in Sudan, during the earthquake in Haiti. She knew how to rebuild from rubble. It was time to make some calls. Maya's fingers trembled as she traced the hospital bracelet on her wrist. Room 847. Patient, Maya Chun. Diagnosis: complete spinal cord injury, T12 level. The clinical language didn't capture the violence of the car crash 3 months ago. The screaming metal, the moment she realized her legs wouldn't respond. The evening nurse, Bridget, entered with medications, her eyes soft with pity Maya had learned to hate. "Did your husband leave already?" "Visiting hours just started." "He left permanently," Maya said flatly, nodding toward the divorce papers. Apparently, paralysis wasn't in the wedding vows. Bridget picked up the papers, reading quickly, her expression darkening. "He's claiming you're mentally incompetent. That you can't manage your own affairs?" His lawyer's creative. Maya's laugh was bitter. "Marcus gets everything: the house, the savings, my settlement from the accident. I get moved to a state facility for the disabled poor." What Bridget didn't know, what Marcus didn't know, was that Maya Chun wasn't just a freelance journalist. Before the accident, she'd been embedded with federal investigators, building a massive corruption case involving city officials, construction companies, and millions in fraudulent contracts. The car crash hadn't been an accident. Someone had run her off that mountain road, deliberately. Her encrypted laptop was hidden in her brother's apartment across town. Her source files, her evidence, her entire investigation sat waiting while she lay here. Legs useless, husband gone, life destroyed. Through the window, she watched the city lights flicker on as dusk settled. Somewhere out there, Marcus was celebrating his freedom with Vanessa, his 26-year-old secretary. Somewhere out there, the people who tried to kill her thought they'd won. Maya reached for her phone with steady hands. She'd been broken before, during the war in Sudan, during the earthquake in Haiti. She knew how to rebuild from rubble. It was time to make some calls. Part 2. Conflict, approximately 300 words. Physical therapy was torture disguised as medicine. Maya gripped the parallel bars, arms shaking, willing her legs to respond. They hung limp and useless, dead weight attached to a body that remembered running marathons. "Good effort today," said Marcus. Her physical therapist, different Marcus, kind Marcus, who didn't share her ex-husband's name by coincidence, but by cruel irony. "Your upper body strength is improving dramatically. My upper body needs to be enough for both halves now," Maya said through gritted teeth, lowering herself back into the wheelchair. Sweat plastered her hair to her forehead. Marcus handed her a towel. "Got a minute? There's someone who wants to meet you." The someone was a woman in her 50s wearing an expensive charcoal suit and an expression that suggested she rarely smiled. She sat down across from Maya in the therapy room without asking permission. "Maya-chan," the woman said. "My name is Diana Rothstein. I'm a disability rights attorney, and I've been following your case." "I don't have money for lawyers," Maya said automatically. "I'm not here about your divorce, though that's a disgrace." Diana pulled out a tablet, showing Maya photos of hospital corridors, patient rooms, equipment. "I'm building a class action lawsuit against this hospital network. Neglect, insurance fraud, patient abuse. I've got 12 victims ready to testify. I need someone with investigative experience to help me connect the dots." Maya stared at the images. She recognized the signed falsified records. Equipment marked as new that was clearly outdated. Supply charges that didn't match actual inventory. "Why me?" Maya asked carefully. "Because before your accident, you broke the Harborview pension fraud story. You exposed Senator Mitchell's offshore accounts. You're one of the best investigative journalists in the state." Diana leaned forward. "And because I know the accident that put you here wasn't an accident at all." Maya's hospital room became a makeshift war room. Diana smuggled in a secure laptop and a portable printer. At night, after the nurses finished their rounds, Maya worked downloading encrypted files from her hidden backup drives. Cross-referencing hospital records Diana provided. Building connections. The patterns emerged slowly. Surgical equipment marked as sterilized that was actually reused. Medications watered down to increase profit margins. Kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies in exchange for unnecessary prescriptions. The hospital network was a criminal enterprise disguised as healthcare. But the deeper Maya dug, the more familiar names appeared. Marcus, her ex-husband Marcus, was listed as a financial consultant for Mercy Health Network's parent company. His firm had restructured their debt, arranged their acquisitions, managed their offshore accounts. Vanessa, his secretary-turned-girlfriend, worked in the same firm. Her email signature appeared on dozens of internal documents about the hospital fraud. Maya's hand stilled on the keyboard. Marcus hadn't just abandoned her because she was paralyzed. He'd abandoned her because she was dangerous, because if she recovered enough to resume her investigation, she'd discover his involvement. The car accident made perfect sense now. She'd been getting close to exposing the hospital network 3 months ago. Someone had tried to silence her permanently. When that failed, Marcus had moved to Plan B, divorce her, declare her incompetent, bury her in a state facility where nobody would listen. A notification pinged on her screen. An encrypted message from an unknown sender. "Stop digging or the next accident won't leave you breathing. Your brother's apartment, 2247 Riverside Drive. Nice laptop collection he's keeping for you. Maya's blood turned cold. They were watching. They knew about her evidence. And they were threatening her brother Kevin. She had 48 hours until her involuntary transfer to the state facility. 48 hours to move the evidence, protect Kevin, and find someone powerful enough to believe her story. Diana Rothstein was good. But she'd need more than a disability lawyer. She'd need a miracle. The miracle arrived at 2:47 a.m. in the form of Bridget, the night nurse, shaking Maya awake with urgent hands. Get dressed. We're leaving. Now. Maya blinked away sleep. What? There's a man in the parking garage asking questions about your room number. Security cameras show him carrying something in his jacket. Bridget was already pulling clothes from Maya's closet. I called the police, but we're not waiting. 10 minutes later, they were in Bridget's ancient Honda Civic. Maya's wheelchair folded in the trunk, racing through empty streets. Maya called Kevin, warning him to grab the laptops and meet them at their mother's house in the suburbs. But as Bridget turned onto Riverside Drive toward Kevin's apartment, they saw the smoke. The entire third floor was engulfed in flames. Fire trucks screamed toward the building. Maya's heart stopped. Kevin! She grabbed her phone with shaking hands. No answer. The call went straight to voicemail. Bridget pulled over 2 blocks away. They watched the flames through the windshield, orange light reflecting off Maya's horrified face. Then her phone rang. Kevin's number. I'm okay, he said before she could scream. I left 10 minutes before the fire started. Got your warning. I'm at Mom's with the laptops. Maya exhaled shakily. They tried to kill the evidence. They tried to kill me, Kevin corrected grimly. This is bigger than we thought, Maya. The laptops are encrypted, but somebody really wants them gone. What's on these drives? Proof that Marcus and his firm are laundering money through a corrupt hospital network. Proof that my accident was attempted murder. Proof that... She stopped, realization hitting her like cold water. Proof that connects to the City Hall corruption case I was building before the crash. Everything was connected. The hospital fraud, the construction contracts, Marcus's financial firm, it was all one massive web, and she'd just become their biggest threat. Again, Bridget drove them to a motel on the outskirts of the city, paying cash for a room on the ground floor. She helped Maya inside, then surprised her by staying. You should go home, Maya said. You've already done enough. They'll fire you for helping me leave the hospital. They were going to kill you in my hospital, Bridget said flatly, setting up the wheelchair beside the bed. I've been a nurse for 27 years. I've seen things covered up before deaths marked as complications. Missing medications. Patients who couldn't afford lawyers getting sicker instead of better. I always told myself I was just doing my job, keeping my head down. She sat heavily on the other bed. My daughter was in a car accident 2 years ago. Different hospital, same network. They told us she'd walk again with therapy. They charged us for equipment they never provided. Used medications they never gave her. She's in a wheelchair now, permanent nerve damage from delayed treatment. And I never questioned it. I never fought back. Maya watched Bridget's face, seeing old pain and fresh determination. I'm fighting back now, Bridget continued. Whatever you're investigating, whatever evidence you have, I'll help. I'll testify. I'll give you access to files, records, anything you need. Because if I don't stop them now, there will be other daughters, other patients, other families destroyed. Maya reached out, squeezing Bridget's hand. It's dangerous. They've already tried to kill me twice. Then we'd better move fast, Bridget said with a grim smile. By dawn, they had a plan. Kevin arrived with the laptops and 3 external hard drives containing years of investigative work. Diana Rothstein joined them via video call, legal expertise complementing Maya's journalistic instincts. They had evidence. They had witnesses. They had 48 hours before the hospital reported Maya missing, and Marcus's lawyers moved to have her declared a fugitive. Time to burn it all down. The evidence was more devastating than Maya had realized. As she compiled everything onto a master document, patterns crystallized into prosecutable crimes. Marcus's financial firm didn't just consult for Mercy Health Network. They'd created shell companies that purchased medical equipment at normal prices, then resold it to the hospitals at 300% markup. The hospitals billed insurance companies for new equipment while using refurbished devices. The profits got split between Marcus's firm and hospital administrators. Vanessa wasn't just his secretary. She was the daughter of Richard Crane, the CEO of Mercy Health's parent corporation. The affair wasn't romantic, it was strategic. Marcus had seduced his way into the family business. The car accident that had nearly killed Maya happened 2 days after she'd interviewed a former hospital CFO who'd threatened to expose the fraud. That CFO had died 3 weeks later, marked as suicide. Maya's accident had been meant to look like a DUI, except she didn't drink. Diana pulled up the accident report, her face grave. The police found empty vodka bottles in your car. Blood tests showed 0.15 alcohol content. I haven't had a drink in 8 years, Maya said. I'm a recovering alcoholic. Everyone who knows me knows that. Marcus knew that, Bridget said quietly. The divorce papers claim you relapsed, that you were drinking heavily before the accident. He built his incompetency case on that narrative. Maya felt rage crystallize into cold clarity. He'd tried to kill her, and when that failed, he destroyed her credibility. Made her look mentally unstable, alcoholic, incompetent. Made it so even if she survived and spoke, nobody would believe her. But Marcus had made one critical mistake. He'd underestimated how thoroughly she documented everything. Her source files included videos, audio recordings, time-stamped photographs. Evidence that couldn't be dismissed as the ravings of a traumatized, unstable woman. Evidence that would bury him. Diana arranged a meeting with the FBI's white-collar crime division. Maya rolled into the federal building with her evidence organized into a presentation that would have made her journalism professor's proud. Special Agent Victoria Torres listened for 3 hours without interrupting. When Maya finished, Torres sat back in her chair, studying her. You understand that your ex-husband will claim you fabricated this out of revenge, Torres said. That you're a disabled woman with a grudge? I understand that I have time-stamped, encrypted evidence from before the accident, Maya replied calmly. Evidence I couldn't have fabricated because I've been in a hospital bed for 3 months. Evidence corroborated by financial records, hospital files, and witness testimony. Torres nodded slowly. We've had Mercy Health Network on our radar for 2 years. Small complaints, nothing substantial. This, she gestured at Maya's documentation. This gives us everything we need for warrants. How long until arrests? Diana asked. 72 hours if we move fast. We'll need to coordinate with local police. GET protective custody arranged for witnesses. Miss Chun, you'll need to stay somewhere secure. They've already tried to kill you twice. Maya felt dizzy with relief and residual fear. My family will protect them. Round-the-clock security until arrests are made. Torres stood, extending her hand. You built one hell of a case, Miss Chun. Even in a wheelchair with your life falling apart, you kept fighting. That takes serious strength. That night, in a safe house with federal protection outside, Maya sat with her laptop and wrote. Not investigative notes this time, but a personal essay about betrayal and resilience. About losing everything and finding purpose in the fight for justice. She'd lost her legs, her husband, her old life. But she'd found something stronger, the unshakable knowledge that she could survive anything, and that using her voice for truth mattered. More than anything, she'd Lost. The arrests happened on a Tuesday morning. Marcus was taken from his office in handcuffs while Vanessa screamed for her father's lawyers. Richard Crane was arrested in his penthouse. Hospital administrators, doctors complicit in the fraud, financial officers, 17 people in total. The case made national news. Maya's story became the hook. Investigative journalists targeted by criminals she was exposing. Left paralyzed, abandoned by her husband, who turned out to be one of the conspirators. The trial lasted 8 months. Maya testified from her wheelchair, presenting evidence with the same calm precision that had made her an award-winning journalist. The jury took 4 hours to convict on all counts. Marcus got 12 years in federal prison. Vanessa got 6. Richard Crane got 25 years, plus massive financial restitution. The divorce was invalidated, obtained through fraud and duress. Maya got her settlement money, the house, everything Marcus had tried to steal, but she didn't move back to the house. She sold it and bought an accessible condo near the hospital where Bridget still worked. She wrote a book about the case that became a bestseller, using the proceeds to start a foundation helping people with disabilities access investigative journalism training. Diana Rothstein's class action lawsuit resulted in a $150 million settlement for victims of hospital fraud. Mercy Health Network was dissolved, its assets sold to pay restitution. 1 year after Marcus signed those divorce papers in her hospital room, Maya sat in her home office, wheelchair positioned at her custom desk, working on a new investigation about pharmaceutical pricing. Her legs still didn't work. Her marriage was still over, but she'd rebuilt a life with meaning and purpose. Bridget stopped by with coffee, staying to proofread Maya's latest article. "You good?" Bridget asked, watching Maya's focused expression. Maya smiled, fingers flying across the keyboard. "I'm exactly where I need to be."